This is, as you know, a special meeting with one item on the agenda regarding the house at 9 Colonial Court, which has been filed for demolition. There are objections received, and we're meeting to discuss the potential delay, 90-day delay in the demolition. We met last Tuesday. Most of the committee was there, and others, including Michelle Cardone, the daughter of the owner, who was very helpful, and she led us all through the house and told us, described the issues that they face. So that was very, very useful and interesting. Thank you, Michelle. Before we start, just a quick administrative item. We just received the meeting notes from last April. I think it would be wise to postpone postpone the approval of the meeting and of the minutes until the next regular meeting. Is there a motion to
I'll make a motion to postpone the
the
discussion and approval.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, so let's go to the meeting. Why don't we start with the comments from the public? There were, as I mentioned, there were several objections received, so I would like to invite the public to discuss the house. Anyone?
Okay, do you want me to start?
Yeah, Mimi, that would be.
I wrote the letter of objection that I feel that the house has architectural merit, being designed by the same architect who designed my house. So I can't help but being a little bit prejudiced. But it's Walter Bradney Kirby, who was the architect of the fire station in a totally different style. And my house was built, what was the date of this one? 33, no, 37.
33.
My own house was 36 and this one is 32. Okay, so it was sort of like a beginning, one of the first stone houses that he built in New Canaan. Other than the it is sort of that house is more like has an English feel to it. Mine is a Cotswold cottage, but the stonework is beautiful. And I objected on the architectural merits of the building and the local fame of the architect. It also demonstrates a work that was built in order to create this little court, a colonial court, which has a number of interesting architectural buildings. And I think that's, you will know, be spoken to by the residents. So I am objecting to its demolition and to the fact that how could a building permit have been issued or isn't there one yet? It looks like a very difficult site, being on a steep hillside, to build a larger house on. So I turn this back to the review committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. And anybody else from the public would like to make a comment or?
Well, I can speak. My name is Amy Korn. My husband Richard and I live at 8 Colonial Court, and we've been here for over 34 years. We love the street. We've always loved the street. A key part of the charm of the circle, especially where we live, is at this end of the street is that stone house. We've always loved it. We have a clear view of it from our home. It's been one of the chief attractive points of our street as far as we're concerned. And we've loved it. It's a lovely neighborhood. All the neighbors have always been very welcoming. We had heard that the previous owner, John McMenamin, sold it to a woman that wanted to add something to the back of the house. And then later we started to hear rumors that the owner decided to rip it down. And we were very surprised and very upset, really, because I can't imagine that house going down. It is a beautiful old home, and it has charm that you rarely see. And it really is the anchor of our street. So we welcome our new neighbors, and we want them to have a home that works for them. But we were surprised that they would buy the house and then tear it down. And we just wanted a chance to see if there's anything that can be done to preserve it, because it's important to us, as are some of the trees on the property, which we also enjoy seeing from our house.
Mhm. Thank you. Anyone else? Or
Yeah, I'll just add one thing. I live immediately next door, and I've had conversations with Michelle and her mom a couple of times. And the bottom line is the owners can do what they want. All right. We have no say in what they can or can't do. Yes, we do understand there were no permits issued by town hall, and somebody at town hall told a neighbor that, geez, they didn't really understand the process, which doesn't make sense to me, but that's what happened.
what is that?
All we're asking for is, have they actually worked with architects and builders that have worked with historic homes, not just an architect and builder that want to build a new house, and how can they fit in with the landscape of the neighborhood and things like that. And that's all we can do. We cannot prohibit them from tearing their house down. It's their house. They bought it. They could do what they want. It's unfortunate because they bought it for reasons, and they said they had builders come in there initially and said everything is going to be fine. And then because the daughters wanted for the dollhouse appeal and all this other stuff, and me, self-serving, it towers over my house. All right. So it's going to tower over my backyard, 200-year-old trees being taken down, probably a 75-year-old maple being taken down right there. And so I'm the most affected by it from the side standpoint. And, it's, have they worked with historic homes, and have they really efforted that? And so I just fell on this commission when I went home the other day. I knew nothing about this meeting or anything else, and I didn't really care until they said, listen, I said, are you the folks that are involved in tearing the house down? She said, no, we're trying to preserve the house. And they explained to me what's going on. I said, fine. All we're trying to do is speak to the neighbors, buy some time. This is the committee saying this now, buy time to perhaps make them understand that there may be qualified people that deal with these kind of issues that can maybe preserve part of what we all see. I grew up in this town. I grew up on the street quite a bit with a friend of mine, and I bought in this property because of the uniqueness of the street and the houses that are there. And this is the anchor of this street. This truly is a unique house. You don't see these houses in town anymore. And it's going to change the whole complexion of the neighborhood. Again, they can do what they want to do, but have they exhausted every opportunity with the appropriate parties to see what can be done? And so I just think it deserves some scrutiny. We don't know these folks other than they have not communicated one thing to the neighborhood about what their plans are, which is unfortunate. Other than me, they say they're going to be good neighbors, and I'm sure they're going to be fine neighbors. I don't know them other than my conversations, but there's been zero communication to the 10 houses on the street as far as what their intentions are. And that's unfortunate. And that sort of leaves a little wound, I think, in everybody's mind, because we've all talked about it. But anyway, I'm getting off target. I don't think the committee cares about that, really. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I think I'm echoing much of what has been discussed over the last month or two. We're disappointed because of the blight issues that have existed there. They've not taken care of the grounds that are exposed to the front yard. It took a phone call and a neighbor to do the work, and it's not neighborly, so to speak. Anyway, I'll be quiet. Thank you, though. Hello?
Good morning. Hi, Tim. It's Heidi.
Okay, were you able to hear that then, Marty? Hello?
We could hear you. I think, we said we'd wait and see about muting. Somebody's got a buzzsaw in the background. So if you're not speaking,
Okay.
people, can you mute?
Okay, I'll do that. And Heidi, why don't you speak up? Go ahead.
Good morning. This is Heidi King. I'm at 6 Colonial Court. Clearly, we have, I don't know what has been addressed, but clearly there is a great desire to preserve a historic home and a home that really defines the entire integrity of our streets. It would be devastating, and truly one of the main reasons we even purchased on the street was the literal charm and significance of this home and its entire tone. We've unfortunately been already dealt a blow this summer, having lost some absolute specimen trees due to the storm, which has changed the face of our street considerably. To remove this home would be a final devastating blow. Its charm, its appeal, its draw, it's just not something that can be replicated or replaced with a new construction. And I'm sure it would be a lovely home. This is not intended to restrict anybody from their own personal needs. It's just really trying to preserve something that just doesn't exist in our town anymore.
Thank you. Well, we heard from a wide range of views from the immediate neighbors and from the distant view, as expressed by Mimi, that it is a house that was built in the 30s, and it's very much of that period and adds a very distinct, it's very distinct part of the texture of the town. So
Hello, hello.
it is a serious issue to consider. Yes.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Who is this? What's going on? Can you hear me? No.
Hi. Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can anybody else hear me? I've been having trouble. I'm on my phone and I've been having trouble hearing you guys. It's going in and out. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you want any more input from a neighbor or not. So if you do, let me know. If not, then I will stay out of it.
Yes. Don't you think okay, Mark?
Yeah, please do.
I just wanted to add to the comments from my neighbors. And basically, I understand both sides of it, modern living versus preserving, this beautiful house. I totally understand that. But, having lived here for 20 years and having, the neighbors around us basically have all period houses, the 30s, I think everybody 30s up to 1940. We've all renovated these houses. We put a lot of money and a lot of thought into our renovations, and I could have easily torn down my house and built a new house for the amount of money that I paid with my renovation, along with Tim, along with other neighbors who have definitely strive to preserve their homes because they're period homes. And in fact, we have a house on the street, which was the old Johnny Potts house, which was moved from a different location. I think it dates back to the 1700s. And that house was beautifully renovated by Susan Bergeron a few years ago. So, we've all taken, the time, and we, wanted to preserve our homes rather than tear them down, which would have been the easier thing to do. So that's basically what I have to add to this.
Yes, well, that's definitely anything is possible if one is committed to it. Okay, anybody else, maybe from the committee, would like to say anything?
Mark,
Yes.
I'm not, I'm not entirely sure what we as committee members are allowed to share in terms of our personal thoughts. And if we have some personal thoughts on the matter, do we need to recuse ourselves or?
Well, I think what we need to consider is the significance of the house in the context of the town.
Yep.
You know, either historical, cultural, or you know, otherwise aspect. So, you know, that and personal preferences may be intertwined to some extent, but I mean, we shouldn't lose the focus on its
Right.
location and its image and its background as it relates to the town.
Okay, well, I would certainly agree that the reasons for asking for the delay meet the criteria for that request. And in this case, I've gone through dozens, if not 100 homes that are being torn down in town. This house truly does meet a criteria worthy of conversation before any dramatic change takes place. The street itself, as has been pointed out by the neighbors, is truly one of the last intact streets in New Canaan. And it was designed and built around a certain, you know, design criteria that's readily apparent. And while I also understand that the house can be replaced, that's perfectly legitimate for it to happen. I would urge that if there is a delay, time is spent to understand the scale, the setback, and other qualities that anchor of a house has to respect the scale and dignity of the neighborhood. You know, there's certainly design solutions that can make the house much larger, that can meet the needs of the current owner. But I do think those design needs can also address the scale and character of the neighborhood. You know, it does maintain a good uniform setback along the street and building height. And the trend of new houses, of course, is to raise every floor by a foot or two. And that would be one of the largest concerns I would have in seeing any house on the street replaced. It's changing the height, especially. So I would hope that during this delay, time could be spent with the owners and their designers to really study these aspects in a rigorous way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure it's a complicated endeavor. I mean, it's from what we understand, what we met from Michelle, is that the main criteria is to have a house that is appropriate for a senior person that has, you know, all the living requirements on one level. So, you know, that is, you know, that is an aspect that you know, is appreciated, I think. It seems that at this point, it's hard to picture that it's not possible with working with the existing house. By a very quick calculation, the site area does seem to allow for a much larger footprint based on zoning. So it seems that there should be some flexibility in considering maintaining the existing house and achieving the the desired requirements of a larger ground floor. So that's sort of the question in my mind. I don't know. Is anybody else?
If I could speak, I kind of want to just I'll echo those sentiments. I just don't look at the whole street. Every house but one was built in the 30s. Number 2 Colonial was built in 2011, and there's a bit of a difference. The number 3 was actually from 1880, the one that was moved in. But looking at this house and the rest of the street, it does. I think there's architectural merit to have the owner maybe consider an alternative option than demoing it, because the character of the street is pretty clear. All these houses were pretty much built at the same time, and just demolishing it and putting a more modern dwelling might change that character. So I think any extension of time to maybe try and work a new solution out would be justified.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Do we want to ask if the owner or the owner's representative has any comments before we get too far into this?
That would be great. I don't know if Michelle, do you have any?
Michelle Cardone. I'm Sandra Cardone, the owner's daughter. I mean, beyond what we discussed on Tuesday, I don't feel like I have much to add, only to say that, a couple of people commented that, initially we wanted to renovate and expand the house, which was exactly our intention. And, we met with builders before the house was purchased, who seemed like, given our budget and our requirements, everything would be doable. And then after we got into it with them, I think it was 2 builders basically said, you should knock down the house. This is going to be way too expensive to do based on your budget. At which point we've now spent 2 years going to other architects, one of whom actually worked on a house on Colonial Court. And unfortunately, after a process of 1.5 years or so, have come to the conclusion that, the expansion of the house would be, I think one person mentioned it would be more time and a lot more money to achieve what we need to achieve. As I mentioned on Tuesday, my mom is nearly 80 years old. She has severe osteoarthritis, and she does need everything on one level and has, certain requirements that need to be met. So, we already have been through a pretty long process and a costly one, frankly, to try and maintain the house. It's not for, lack of desire, certainly. But, this is where we've sort of netted out. And I think that pretty much covers it for those who weren't there on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll speak from the committee. Yeah, we spoke with Michelle, and she went into a good amount of detail about how they bought it because they loved the property and all that, and this whole process, and we completely understand that and respect that. We did express that we felt that perhaps if there had been an architect who I understand that she spoke with someone I'm not familiar with that has done this, the sort of process of taking an older home and adding on to it. So should be knowledgeable with these things. We did feel that given the right person that, and we offered if we impose a delay, that we would bring in some people that we know of who have successfully done this sort of thing. We asked her if she would like to tour, as Mamie said, that she lives in a Kirby house and she's added on to it. So we asked if we impose a delay, would she and her mother be interested in seeing some of the successful examples? And that is an option. And one thing, when we impose these delays in the past, we've imposed a 90-day delay, but then we've worked with the owner of the property and we have shortened that period of time when we have come to a point where we feel that the solution is a viable solution. I think one thing that's really important here is the neighbors. As several of them stated, this street is the character of this street is very important to them. This is why they bought that house in particular, is, anchors the street, anchors the character of the street. And it's very important to why they bought. So while we obviously respect, everyone in town respects owners' rights to do what they want with their property, we also have to respect neighbors' rights and have these things affect their property. I believe we should. So I think if we impose a delay, we'd be very interested in reaching out to the owners and seeing what they have planned, what their architects have come up with, and see if we can bring in some architects we know have done this successfully. And we'd really love to be engaged in the conversation, and given however many days, 90 less than, we really would like to work on this. This personally, this street and this particular house are one of the streets that I, as a architect, I go down fairly frequently just for the pleasure of seeing the buildings that are on this street. And I think a lot of people in town really appreciate this scale, this design. It's really important. And I personally would hate very much to see this building go away as it is, or with a appropriate addition. And I personally, as an architect, think it can be done.
Just to Michelle, just a reminder, each of us on this committee are volunteers. We have no financial interest in your decision whatsoever. And I would say that we're all on this committee because we have a deep passion for New Canaan and the overall general character that brings great value to the whole town. And so anytime that we would be able to spend with you and your builder and your designers would be in the best interest of all involved. We certainly in the past have actually worked with architects and designers to modify some of their thinking on new construction, and they've walked away equally as happy. So it's definitely intended to be a friendly relationship. And so that's what else I can add. So.
Well, I mean, I certainly appreciate, I can certainly appreciate that. I think that this has been nothing but friendly and, grateful and appreciative that, all of you are taking such an interest for sure. At the end of the day, it is my mother's house, not mine. My mother's not on the call because she had to drop off my son at school. So, certainly I can confer back with her. At the end of the day, she, I think, also already feels like she has done her due diligence. And while, I am certainly happy to be involved in, having phone calls or conversations with, architects that you feel like are better people perhaps than the ones that we spoke to. I can relay that she's not willing to make, sort of a great financial commitment on doing sort of additional drawings, but certainly is willing to have conversations. So, I don't know who the people that you all have in your arsenal are, but if they are people that we in fact haven't spoken to already, I'm happy to have conversations with them.
Okay, well, that's great.
Can I say one
think,
more thing? Sorry.
yes, but
I want to point out, we got into the conversation yesterday, and several of us have had elderly parents live with us. I'm one, lived or living, so we get it. We understand it, and several of us are about to head in that direction too. So, we get it, and we really respect it, and that sort of thing, is in our minds a lot. So we get it.
I'm sure you do. I know.
I agree.
yeah, I did mention my 97-year-old mother
You sure did.
living on one floor with us.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments? Well, I think we can consider the motion. Is there a motion to impose the 90-day delay?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here's my hand. Aye.
I also. So, okay, so motion carries. And
Motion carries. Michelle, I am available, and I'm sure all of us are available at a very short notice, so that we don't need to actually delay this very long. The 90-day is what the law, the language of the law, but as reiterated, it's typically a much shorter time period.
Okay. I mean, again, I think I gave Rose my email address. Again, if you have architects, builders, what have you, that you would like us to reach out to, if you can shoot me an email, that I think would be helpful. I mean, I'm not sure how you typically work, if it goes through you guys or if you just send me names along, how that works, but you guys have my contact information.
Mhm.
So,
Can I ask, is Brian still on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Brian, how does this go as far as what we have to publicly, if more than two of us are involved in something, like if only one of us met with Michelle, that's okay, but if two of us are there, what's the deal?
If you form a quorum, then you have to notice it as a public meeting. And be careful, because you can form a quorum by way of email as well. You can send an email to all, but if you all reply to all, that could be a public meeting by way of email.
Okay, so I could send everybody saying that here's the architect's name or something, and
Right, just be careful replying to all from there.
right, everybody has just to reply to the sender, whoever the sender is.
And the
Correct,
quorum
correct.
is what?
And then the applicant can have individual conversations with all of you, not at the same time, but individual conversations, and that would be fine. And you can all individually reach out to the applicant and owner.
Okay,
it would be great if I have 3 pretty small kids and an elderly mom. If there's like one person, like one contact person, that would be helpful, if that's possible.
okay, I think we'll, do we want to decide that now? Would
Sure.
do it, or as secretary, or Marty, do you want to do it? How do y'all want to do it? Or Mark, or do we want to decide now?
Well, would you be willing to do it, Rose?
I can certainly be the person that like funnels things. as
I think it would be
secretary.
great if you could,
Okay, yeah, I'll do it.
unless Marty wants to.
No, if Rose can, that would be.
I'm
Welcome.
stuck with the secretary. yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Anything else? Nope. Is
Can I
there a
make a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
Second,
Second,
Second. All in favor?
aye.
aye.
All right,
Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.